Day 14, and we're going to continue with Genesis 6:4 and the Nephilim. And like I've said in the last video and in a video that I have called The Nephilim Are the Cainites or Kenites, the Nephilim are simply those who came from the line of Cain in Genesis 4, and then in Genesis 5 we have the line of Seth. Although I have found a source that said the people in the line of Seth in Genesis 5 were taking Cainite women as wives. So if you're not convinced that the Nephilim are the Cainites, I'm going to present some more info here. It's kind of strange and has to do with Gematria once again. So we can find Nephilim, again, has the value 215, which is the same value, 215, as the Kenites or the Cainites, which you can find in 1 Chronicles 2:55 here. And the famous Cainites are, well, of course, Cain, but also Jethro, the father-in-law of Moses, and Heber, the Cainite, who is the husband of Yael. Interestingly, Heber is the name that both Moses and Jethro share. So again, the Nephilim are the Cainites, and they have the same value. What do we know about the Kenites or the Cainites? According to the Hebrew Bible, and this is well known, that's why I'm using Wikipedia, it doesn't matter. Everybody already knows this for the most part. It's well established that the Cainites were a nomadic tribe, and the Cainites were coppersmiths and metal workers. It's very and they played an important role in the history of ancient Israel. So these guys were coppersmiths, metal workers, masters of metal. Now what's interesting is if you go back to Genesis 4 and remember that who was the first to cut metals and work with metals? Genesis 4, the line of Cain, it was Tubal-Cain who was the master of metals, and this craft was handed down. Now let's take the entire verse of the Nephilim that has to do with the Nephilim. You'll take the entire verse and you can get the value of that verse, and then look through the entire Tanakh for verses with the same value. And I can tell you that it's extremely rare. Like if you go through it here, you'll almost never see an entire verse highlighted with that value. But if you go down to Ezekiel 22, you'll find two right next to each other practically. Two verses with the same value within like 3 verses of each other. It's just very odd. I think there's only like maybe 4 verses in the entire Tanakh with this value. But here are 2 right next to each other, and we said that the Cainites are the Nephilim and that the Cainites were metal workers. Let's go read Ezekiel 22:18 and 21 and see what they're about. So let's go up to 18 here. Son of man, or mortal, Ben Adam, the house of Israel has become dross to me. They are all copper, tin, iron, and lead. But in a crucible or furnace the dross shall turn into silver. And we'll carry on and go down to 21 as well. Assuredly, thus said the Lord God, because you have all become dross, I will gather you into Jerusalem. As silver, copper, iron, lead, and tin are gathered into a crucible to blow the fire upon them, so as to melt them and refine them. So I will gather you in my fierce anger and cast you into the fire and melt you. And then here's the final verse. I will gather you and blow upon you the fire of my fury, and you shall be melted in it. So the Cainites are masters of metals, and the value of this verse with the about the Nephilim has the same value as these verses about metals.